Broyles Award, you were warned, so buckle up. It's about to get bumpy on a Talkin' Tuesday on the Beat presented by the Waterworks.
I didn't know you were going to lead with that.
Welcome. You should have known. You promised 2 months ago on a different Talkin' Tuesday that there would be, I believe, heck to pay.
I think that I said there will be something.
He's television's Adam King. I am radio's Austin Ward, also the co-host of the Austin and Burn podcast. And by the way, don't think that this is going to be a hypothetical Talkin' Tuesday, because I just don't think there's going to be a press conference, because I believe Ryan Day's getting on a boat.
He is. He's going on a cruise. He's going on the Buckeye cruise for cancer, so it's going to be a little bit until we get to hear from Ryan Day.
Spent 2 weeks on hypothetical Talkin' Tuesdays. I will say that I believe the contracts are being finalized for both Matt Patricia and Larry Johnson, so we can talk about the coaching staff without a press conference being called from Ryan Day. But before we can get into any of that, what do you have to... I told you he wasn't going to win.
Let me tell you something, okay? It's Talkin' Tuesday. Yeah. We phrase everything in questions.
Okay.
So my question is, what is wrong with people? I am so tired of the obvious answer just eluding so many people. I understand Indiana had a great year. Mm-hmm. But not everything, just because you win a national title doesn't mean you win every award. That's never how it's been. It's supposed to be looked at through a scope of everything.
Okay.
And there is no better coaching job in America by far than what Matt Patricia did last season. He took an entire group that was supposed to be bad, that was supposed to be young, that was supposed to be not ready, inexperienced, this, that, and the other. He was supposed to be a bad defensive coordinator. People said, oh, it's a horrible hire. All he did was come in here, turn those guys into the number one defense in the country. And even the craziest part, and this is where I get frustrated, in the bad parts of the Ohio State season, those last two games, they gave up 13 to Indiana, one touchdown.
Correct.
And they gave up, 17 to Miami, including a last second walk-in touchdown that they literally let them score so they could get the ball back. So I can't comprehend the idea that anyone else in America had a historic college football season.
He sure did.
When I was standing at AT&T Stadium, I used all my voice. After the game, it was gone.
You spilled it.
And the last thing that I said over and over again is what made me so upset for this team is that it was a historic year on defense, and you don't get those every year. And that was in large part because of Matt Patricia. Every player said it constantly. So that's fine, Indiana. Enjoy your Broyles Award. But I feel like we do this in all of college football. We do it, the easiest answer, we always have to say, maybe not. Maybe there's an outlier that I can grab. I even think in the NFL level, somebody voted for Justin Herbert to be the MVP, and it skewed the MVP vote. What? Why is Bill Belichick not a first ballot Hall of Famer? It's things that are easy and obvious and that make sense to 99% of people. And obviously, this Broyles Award is a little different because, yes, did the Indiana guy deserve it? Yes. But he didn't. That's only because he helped Indiana go out and win a national title. That's his merit. They had a great defense. Hey, they held the Buckeyes to 10 points.
He was a finalist for a reason. Did he deserve it more than Matt Patricia? I don't really know how you could make a claim that's
exactly. That's my point. And his claim to that is that they won the national title. And that's great and that's amazing and all. But what Matt Patricia did was historically good with this Ohio State defense. And I think the thought process at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year, it has to matter. That's the only award that I was really, really frustrated with. I mean, the Blitnikoff.
No, I don't think that's true.
I forgot about the Blitnikoff. That was the dumbest thing.
Let me remind you of something real quick.
That's how we got here.
Previously on Talking Tuesday.
But why do we keep doing this in college football? Why do we not allow the easy answer to because the easy answer is typically the right answer, and yet we overcomplicate things. And some Indiana fans going to be in the comments he earned it. That's great. He had a great season. I don't think, maybe it's because we're so close to it, but I don't think anyone in college football can comprehend what Matt Patricia did. We were sitting here on Talking Tuesday last year, and the biggest question was they have Julian Sand, they have Jeremiah Smith, they have Carnell Tate, they have this offensive line, but the defense, can they keep up? And by week 8, we ran out of things to talk about the defense because they were so good.
Because every position that we talked about on a Talking Tuesday, was, well, you have to replace Jack Sawyer and Tyleek Williams and Ty Hamilton and JT Tuimoloau. And then you moved on to the linebackers. So, well, Cody Simon's gone. He had the dot on his helmet and the lightning bolt, and he was the heart and soul of the defense. And a block-o guy at linebacker, how are you going to replace him? And then you moved on to the secondary. You're like, well, you do have Caleb Downs back. That helps, but now you're missing Denzel Burke, and you're losing Lathan Ransom and Jordan Hancock. And yeah, the reason it's so easy to rattle off all those guys, because we spent 9 months talking about how difficult it was going to be for Ohio State to replace them. They were national title contenders. They were NFL draft picks. And Matt Patricia was coming in and having to replace every single one of them on the fly. Now, he wasn't doing it alone. Larry Johnson and James Laurinaitis and Tim Walton and Matt Guerreri were also key to that. And I think that they deserve credit too. I think the collective group being robbed of the honor that would have gone and sat on Matt Patricia's shelf is pretty ridiculous, because what's the other thing that we didn't mention? Oh, yeah, it was a new defensive coordinator. Everything that had been the scraps that were left over from Jim Knowles, which were good scraps. Mm-hmm. They were Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson and Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese and still Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
But you still had to make that into something. Those weren't hand-picked ingredients from Matt Patricia. He had to go make a gourmet meal out of what was left in the cupboards, and he made it better.
You know, you can type that into ChatGPT. You can say, I have an apple, I have a piece of cheese.
Well, what if that's what this aeronautics engineer did?
That's what he did.
Like,
he said,
I have an Arvell Reese.
Yeah.
I have a Sonny Styles. Tell me how to make the number one defense in the country.
I think that's what's so frustrating, is you're right. And maybe if the players didn't credit him so much, like Arvell Reese gives so much credit to Matt Patricia and to James Laurinaitis on unlocking what happened this year.
Yeah.
Caden McDonald will tell you constantly how important Matt Patricia was to his development. So that's where I'm frustrated with that. It leads me to
you said you were going to go down to Arkansas and kick down the door. Did you not do that?
You know what's funny is I saw it popped up on my Twitter, and I clicked on the Broyles Award, and I saw a video of Matt Patricia there, and I was like, all right, it's coming. This is going to hurt. And then it popped up on my Twitter again that he didn't win.
You were so sure he was going to win.
I was not. I was so confident he wasn't going to win, but I was annoyed at the fact that should not have been a foregone conclusion. That's what's annoying. That's what's ridiculous. The fact that Jeremiah Smith has not won the Biletnikoff in 2 years, it's embarrassing. Mm-hmm. It is silly, but that's fine, because awards don't matter unless they're the big shiny gold one that you raise on January 25th next year. That's the one that matters. With that, I have a sidebar Talking Tuesday question.
Hit me with it.
That I was thinking about this week, and you just reminded me because of Cody Simon, so I'll forget it if I don't ask it now.
Get it out. This is your show. It says so right there.
The Block O.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun. We're here February 17th. And
you want to do more bold predictions?
This is a Block O bold P. And I want to ask you your thought, because I think, first here's how we're going to play this game. I think there are two guys that could be the Block O. How many guys in your head, real quick, give me a number that you think, I'll let you go through them. And I think the two guys are pretty clear why they would be the Block O, and I'll say they're on both sides of the ball. So that
I think that we could make a case for five Block O candidates. Wow. Now, they're not, you would put betting odds for all five of them. I think that those are five people that you would consider as realistic options.
Okay, so they're going through winter workouts right now. That is really where you solidify the leaders of your group. That's where we see Iron Buckeyes.
Mm-hmm. Dudes of the week.
It's going to a senior. It always does.
Okay.
I think you know my two. Who are my two?
Your two are Kenyatta Jackson on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to say Brandon Innes. But there's another captain that is returning.
You think it's Sarabeld?
And I mean, he's in the five that I believe are in the selection.
That's fair. I get that with Austin Sarabeld. I didn't.
But did I get yours correct?
You did.
Yeah.
The one thing that I thought, and I don't know that this is how they think you nailed that, by the way. Well done. We did not rehearse that. This is not how I think it looks. I don't think they look at it as what position had it last, or like what position hasn't had it. We've seen it in the linebacker room. Mm-hmm. We've seen it in the defensive line room. We We did see it in the offensive line room.
Thayer Munford was a Blocko recipient. He just couldn't wear it in a game.
We've never seen it in the wide receiver room. Oh, we did.
Xavier Johnson.
Yeah, Xavier Johnson and
Blocko.
Cam Babb.
Yeah. Well, though, I mean, he didn't wear it.
Yeah, but that's interesting. Okay, so all right, I've just counteracted my whole point.
You had a good.
I had a good theory. Well, I was wrong. I still think
have to tell them.
Yeah, I still think Brandon Innes is like an unquestioned leader of this team, but I think Austin Saraveld's a good answer there too. So I think those three guys. Who are your other two?
I believe the other options that would be in the conversation are Jermaine Matthews.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And Carson Hinsman.
Yeah.
Now, Carson Hinsman has not won a captaincy, and that shouldn't be like Kenyatta Jackson is obviously a legitimate contender for this as well. He's not been a captain. I think having two returning captains is an X factor here. Austin Saravel, why I would put him in there is just the multiple positions, the unexpected rise, Midwestern, blue collar.
Yeah.
And maybe that won't be the determining factor here. And I can understand. I think all five of them have compelling cases. Jermaine, from the state of Ohio, didn't. I don't know that any of us considered that he would be at Ohio State for 4 full seasons. So, sticking around, putting in the time and effort. The people that you and I both talked to, the representatives for Ohio State at Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas last summer, and what was the name that came up that we were not expecting?
Kenyatta Jackson.
They said, if it wasn't going to be Sonny, and we all knew that it was going to be Sonny, who was the person that Sonny was going to vote for? Kenyatta Jackson. So if he has now...
Which was crazy. Like I was not crazy because...
It was unexpected.
It was just unexpected. He's not, the loudest guy in the room, we thought, and he had taken a major leadership step forward last season.
Yeah, and I think, people mature, they change, seasons change. Comfort doesn't, Adam. So call the Waterworks and Hetter Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing for maintenance, installation, and repairs, or visit online at thewaterworks.com. The Waterworks and Hetter Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, they're a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. I think if you made me bet right now in February, and if we're saying bold predictions, Kenyatta feels like the person who's going to get the block O. And maybe that is just because I trust Sonny's judgment so much.
Okay.
And the way we heard Kenyatta talk throughout last season, I think you could get a sense for why the rest of his teammates were talking about the work ethic, the example that he was setting, how much command he had in the locker room, weight room. You could see all of that as the season progressed. And then you get one more year of all of that. I would have to assume he's going to build on top of that. And if he does, then that puts you in a prime situation to grab that jersey.
Well, it's interesting. I think you may have just nailed the 5 captains for next year.
Do you think it'll be 5?
I think I know they've gone smaller, but I think it would be very hard to not make Jermaine a captain. Obviously,
the Broyles Award seen nothing if Jermaine doesn't get a captaincy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kick down the door
because again, all those guys talk about how how much Jermaine fires them up and how much he works with them on a constant basis. So yeah, I think Jermaine has to get a captaincy. I think Carson Hinsman is probably the edge right there. I think you could definitely be a captain, but I could also see you'll have to see how that development works. Anyway, that came to my mind because we're in winter workouts, and that really feels like where you build up the core of your team. Last week we talked about how Jeremiah Smith would love to be an Iron Buckeye. I think that says everything about Jeremiah Smith. So.
And it feels weird to be excluding him from this conversation because
Jeremiah's going to be a captain. Well, he's got to be a captain.
You're saying 6.
And they want him to be a captain. Is a better way to say it. They want Jeremiah to be a captain because, and he's outwardly said they wanted him to step up last year with his vocal leadership.
But you also have a 2nd-year starting quarterback, so that gets.
Oh my gosh, we're at 8.
I'm just saying
this is crazy.
I'm glad that you brought this up.
This is interesting
because I think that this is certainly relevant. We had a question.
Luke Montgomery could be a captain,
and Luke Montgomery could be too. We had a question at Letterman Row last week about if Ohio State had enough leaders to win a national championship. That you obviously have to have that to win 15, 16 games to lift that trophy. And especially given the difficulty of the schedule that Ohio State faces. And I said, well. They have a head start because 2 captains are back. Mm-hmm. And then I named all these people that we're talking about right now. And it's easy for us to make cases for them. That's not even counting the others that might emerge. Someone like Jalen McLean, the Texas Tornado, Peyton Pierce. Like these are Edric Houston. These are all people that you're leaning on. Now, they can't all be captains, and they're not all going to stay on the same trajectory. They're not all going to have the same cachet in the locker room. They're not all going to want to do the same amount of media that's required if you become a captain. So I don't know what the final number is going to be, but I don't think that this team is devoid of it by any stretch of the imagination. It's remarkable considering what they're losing. You know, we don't talk about Carnell Tate that much as a leader, but you're talking about a lead by example guy right there who always did the work and had to overcome adversity, all these other things. Sonny, we know, Arvell, Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, Caden Curry. Like that's a bulk. And you think, well, that's a lot to replace. And it is. But there's already a lot in place at the Woody because Ohio State doesn't rely solely on the transfer portal. It is a blend still of recruiting and development and culture and all those other things that, you know, people get tired of us using the buzzword of the brotherhood, but
it's real.
All those people that we just named are what put Ohio State in position to get through, to say, this is what Matt Drill's required. This is what Mickey Marotti wants to see. This is what Anthony Schlegel is going to challenge you to do. They've all been through that before. It's not new for them. So there isn't a shift solely to the Indiana model because the Ohio State model is not broken.
Yeah, the Ohio State model worked 2 years ago. It's interesting. I had 2024 flashbacks there, listening to everything you're saying, because it's not necessarily 2024. Think about it. You had Jack and JT spearheading the defense. You had Cody Simon, who was a guy that like you knew was good, but he was a great leader. He ended up being an amazing linebacker. He's being very successful in the NFL. There were so many guys. The list just kept going. You just named, we're up to 10 guys that and we're not saying guys that, hey, they're leaders. Like every team has a lot of leaders. It's a room of 150 people.
Yep.
You need a lot of leaders. But we're talking 10 guys that like could genuinely stand up in front of the room and lead all 150 at one time. That's crazy to think that they do. And at every position, the only one we haven't named and is the running back room. And
yeah, because I would say that Bennett Christian goes right in that boat amongst the tight ends. So he's already a leader. We know he's doing thankless work. And so, yes, running back is the only one that I look at and say, I don't know who's going to set the tone there.
That's interesting. So there's a question for you. How has through winter workouts?
Well, Carlos Lachlan will set the tone.
Yeah, that guy, he's pretty good at that. But you do wonder, how has the leadership in that room looked? Is it more of a, like, I know, I'm not in the room, but I know that Brandon Innes, I know that Jeremiah Smith are leading the way in the wide receiver room when it comes to leading those guys. The offensive line room, everybody's so freaked out about the offensive line from last year. We just named 3 possible captains on the offensive line. Luke Montgomery, Austin Serfeld, and Carson Hinsman are 3 major pieces. That room, I would love to sit down with Tyler Bowen and ask him how much different he expects this spring to be from last spring, because obviously you're a new coach, but also there were a lot of guys taking on new roles. It feels like you can almost have a developmental offseason, really dive into things in this offseason, because these guys know what they're doing. They'll be just fine when it comes to all the outside stuff.
Yeah.
So now dive into it, and it feels like there's a couple positions that you can really do that at. Certainly on offense. On defense, it's kind of the opposite. It's got a lot of guys that have been doing it. They just have to find their step in. But then you have Jermaine Matthews. McLean, I think, can step up and be a great leader for them. Yeah. So it's interesting. February is where you build leaders, and they've got a lot that could fill that void.
Yeah, and I think you look at this process, it is a point of curiosity. Who's going to be the one to replace the Caleb Downs leadership, the Caden McDonald, all the defensive side, Sonny Styles. But I don't think it's a concern. They're still not lacking for veterans. Kenyatta Jackson is back. Edric Houston is back. Okay, would you like to have more? Yeah, but that's another part of the philosophical shift that we've talked about, really since the calendar turned to January, that the size of the roster is going to be pared down a little bit. You may be in a spot where you're just hoping to have, 2 guys who've started before. Linebacker, you're only going to have 1. You're in a pretty beneficial spot where Jalen McLean and Jermaine Matthews can set that tone in the secondary. But Matt Patricia and then the rest of the staff, which bears repeating, James Laurinaitis, Tim Walton, Matt Gray, Larry Johnson, have all done a really good job. They had to just do this exact same thing last year. But now there is a difference, which is year 2 for Broyles Award finalist, but not winner, Matt Patricia, getting to have some say. He'll have a better understanding of the personnel than he did a year ago, which obviously he got a good read on it. And
no ChatGPT this year.
However he did it. Encyclopedia, ChatGPT, Gemini. I don't.
Gemini. I don't. What's encyclopedia?
I don't know how to use it.
I know what an encyclopedia is. Just to be clear, I didn't want to clip that out.
He could have asked Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves. Oh, I remember Ask Jeeves. That was a good website.
Yeah. Now, he gets to do that. Plus, he's had an off season where these last 6 weeks he didn't just have his feet up on the couch. I'm like, I hope Tom Brady. I hope my buddy gives me a job in Las Vegas. He was heavily involved in evaluations and the transfer portal and recruiting both. But, when you look at Akwe Rusaw or James Smith, like Christian Allegro, like they were now brought in specifically by this staff with that Broyles Award finalist, picking out the ingredients that we talked about. And so that, I think, gives him a head start into year 2, whether he has to replace 8 starters or not.
I completely agree. I didn't expect this to be our conversation until you said Cody Simon, but I thought, this is a really good.
Do you remember what you said about Cody Simon?
Listen, Cody, he and I have a very good relationship, and I've apologized, I think, 1,500 times to him.
Oh, okay. Good.
I was not on the Cody Simon train. I was wrong. It left the station, and I was chasing it down with my luggage, and it was gone.
Who was the conductor of that train?
Was it you?
I don't know. Could have been anybody.
I was the conductor. I've been a conductor of a couple trains.
What train are you conducting right now? That's my question. That's my Talking Tuesday.
Riley Pettijohn. I was on that train last year, and I think everybody, Christian Allegro, we want to talk about, but Peyton Pierce. I understand, but Riley Pettijohn, man, he is going to be a guy that and I'm not getting on a train.
Would you say he's Arvelian?
He could be. I don't like, what? I think that he is very much Riley Pettijohn-y, okay? Don't make him be somebody he's not, all right? He's his self.
I didn't say is he Arvel. I said he is the Arvelian.
Also, you know who we didn't even mention?
Who?
Devin Sanchez.
Okay.
Forgot he's coming back.
He is coming back.
And he got a great year to learn.
I would keep that part separate from a leadership component.
Oh, yeah, it's true. We talked leadership. I was just thinking of...
You're just naming names that are back?
Yeah.
Your brain is just like...
It's just churning.
Well, that's a fair thing to do because the roster's changed quite a bit.
Well, I guess more so somebody that's going to have a different role this offseason. It's not going to be leadership, but Devin Sanchez...
Could be leadership.
It could. You start to grow that as a sophomore. That's a big thing, but his offseason is going to look different because he has a lot to build on after playing in college for a year. That'll be interesting to see.
No doubt. I think that experience is critical for him. And it wasn't all positive.
What train are you driving? Do you drive a train?
I thought you conduct a train.
You conduct an orchestra.
You engineer a train.
Okay. I don't think that's accurate.
You drive a bus.
Okay. What bus are you driving? I like that I'm changing the locomotive because I don't know.
I asked you that. I already knew you were going to say Riley Pettijohn. So
what is yours?
I'm kind of at odds with you.
Oh.
Because I think TJ Alford is the guy.
No, this is going to be a thing.
Pretty excited about going into spring ball. But, we have less than a month until...
less than 3 weeks? Less than 3 weeks.
March 10th, the Buckeyes will be back on the practice field.
It's so exciting.
It's amazing. And then
the nice thing is, for those listening, if you're like, man, I need something, they're going to practice for more than a month. The spring game is until April 18th.
It's an extended spring camp. Last year it was compressed. I think they felt like they overreacted a little bit to the length of the season, although the season was long, and it went all the way into late January after they lost so many of those players, and they were trying to play catch up, especially I think with some of the things they did with Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz and letting them get hit. They're like, we probably needed those extra 2 weeks of meetings. I don't know why we were trying to have 4 practices in a week and get it done in a month. They're spreading it back out again.
They were also, and this is something that everybody should consider, this is all new. Everybody's trying to figure it out as they go. They were the first team, I guess Notre Dame as well, to play that late in the season and try to balance the fact that spring ball was literally the next week.
But we'll have plenty more time to preview spring ball, and we will. And we will have press conferences again at some point. I'm sure of that.
That room still exists.
Just not to talk about on this Talking Tuesday, and probably not on next week's Talking Tuesday.
No, not on next week.
But I guarantee...
I just bit my tongue.
You're okay?
I'll be okay. I'll tough it out.
I guarantee that Television's Adam King will have some questions on his mind.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't use them now.
I'm saying it's a good thing that this podcast is over. I got to go write them down so I don't forget them for next week.
Okay, fill up that notebook. It's another interesting idea for a show.
Fill up that notebook.
Yeah.
Oh, the notebook. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a Talking Tuesday on the Beat, presented by the Waterworks. We're almost there to spring ball, folks. We'll be there before you know it. He's Television's Adam King. I am Austin Ward. We'll talk to you later.